Okay. See, till yesterday, what we have learned, we learned how to install WebSphere application server by using GUI mode, correct? And what we have done, we have created profiles, multiple profiles called application server profile, custom profile, DMGR profile, self profile. We learned what are all these profiles, and we installed the profiles, correct? And we created the profiles, and we have learned the federation concepts also. So today we are going to learn how to deploy the application. How to deploy the application, how to access the application. Okay. So we are going to learn how to deploy the application and how to access the application. See, the deployment process which we are going to learn today is the same across the real-time environment and the same in the test labs also. The same process they are going to follow. Okay, but maybe the process which they are following in the real time could be different, but the steps will be the same. The process means I'm not saying about the implementation, how you are going to deploy. I'm saying about the how you are going to approach and what is the requirement and who will give the requirement in the real time environment, that I'll explain you, and I'll give you the information about the real time process, how you are going to deploy the application. Okay. So before that, can someone help me to give the definition of an application and how many types of an application? What is an application?
Collection of resources.
Okay, it's a collection of resources. So what are all
Resources.
the resources?
Java
Serv-
components.
Yeah,
Okay,
servlets, Java components, EJBs,
Images built
containers.
together to for business requirement to
okay. As per
meet
the
business
business
requirement.
requirement, they are going to build the application by using some resources. Okay, there are two types of resources we'll have. One is web resources and another one is EJB resources. Okay, so web resources is nothing but images, HTML, servlets, JSPs. These are all cascading style sheets. These are all called as web resources. And EJB resources is nothing but message driven beans, entity beans. These are the Java components. Okay, so based upon the business requirement, they will build the application. And we have two types of applications. One is web application, one is ER application. Okay, one is where and one is ER. So both you can deploy in your WebSphere application server, and the process and the steps you are going to deploy both the applications is the same. There is no difference. There is very minute difference you can observe. Okay, that we will see. Very minute. Okay, very minute that we will observe. So that is no need to worry. See, before going to that concept, we'll see. Go to open. It's a domain name. Okay. So I'm opening HDFC Bank portal. Okay. For example, Okay, for example, this is the application, right? So this is the one of the application, HDFC Bank application. Okay, so this application starts with HTTPS, and this enetbanking.hdfcbank.com is your domain name. But as of now, you don't know what is the domain name, correct? See, you are giving, as of now you are giving here as localhost, or you are giving the IP address. Like the same way, like the same way, for each and every domain name will be associated with one IP address. Okay, so this I'll more detailedly I'll explain you when I'm going to explain the request flow concept. Okay, so this is, you are calling the application using HTTPS call, that means secure call, and then after you are using the domain name or host name where your application has been hosted. The next one, you just remove this, and the next one you're using one word. This we will call it as a context root. What is that? Context root. Okay, context root. What is the context root? Context root is nothing but a unique name which you are going to assign to your application. Okay, like how we have the names to identify ourselves, like the same way, if you want to identify your application, you will identify that application using the context root. Okay, so a context root is a unique name which we are going to assign to that application. And to call the application, to call that application, you have to call with the help of this context root. Like if I want to call Raja or Durga or Mahesh, I'm using a specific name to call each and every individual, right? If I want to call Raja, so I'm using the name called Raja to call you, right? Like the same way, to call some application, you have to call with the name of the context root. Okay, and these context root for few applications, developer will hard code in the code itself, and few types of applications we need to give it manually. You no need to worry, that context root you will get it from your application team or your development team. They will give you the requirement that deploy the application with the help of this context root, and update to us. Like that, they'll give the requirement to you. Okay, you have to deploy the application with that help the context root, and you need to give the confirmation once the application has been deployed. And once you have deployed the application on top of your WebSphere, you need to access that application, and you need to see whether the application is working or not. Uh, like a basic sanity, basic check. When you do something, some activity, you will cross verify it. Whatever the changes you have done, that is getting reflected or not, like that you will re-verify, right? Like the same way, in a similar lines, if you deploy the application, once you deploy your application, you have to revalidate whether the application is working or not by accessing that application. So we will see how to access that application, how you can deploy the application. Okay, so now you are aware, right, what is meant by context root. A context root is nothing but the unique name which we are going to assign to that application. With the help of this context root only, you can access the application. Okay, and this context root will be giving by your development team. And one more point I am adding here, if it is a web applications, okay, you need to assign the context root while deploying. Okay, if it is an ER application, okay, developer okay. If it is a web application, you need to assign the context root while deploying the application. Okay, if it is a ER application, developer will assign the context root in the code itself. They will hard code. But in some cases, even for web applications also, they will hard code. Okay, and you can okay in this web application, you will have one important XML file called web.xml file. Web.xml file. This will call it as an deployment. This way will call it as a deployment descriptor. Okay. In web applications, each and every web application will have one web XML file called web.xml file that we will call it as a deployment descriptor. And this web.xml file will contains all the servlet details. It's a basic understanding purpose. Okay. It contains all the information about your servlets, all information about your applications, all information about your context root. Your context root will be available in this file. Okay. And for ER applications, you will have an XML file called application.xml file. This application.xml file will call it as an deployment descriptor. Okay. And this will contain the servlet details. It will contain the class file details. It contains the paths, folder structure, application folder structure details, and it will have the context root. So this is a basic understanding. Okay. Just remember, in rare cases, interview will ask. So that's why you should be aware what is meant by deployment descriptor. So you interview at the time of interviewer, you have to answer that web.xml file and application.xml file, which will contain on web application, or you can say web container, or you can say ER application, or you can say EJB container. So that we will see what is meant by containers, that I'll explain you when I am going to explain the request flow concept. Till that time, okay, till I explain request flow concept, you will not have the complete overview of the application. Once when I explain the request flow concept, you will have very detailed analysis, very detailed understanding how the application will work. Okay, now you will get at least good understanding, I can say. But when I explain request flow concept, you will get more detailed analysis, detailed understanding about the applications. Okay, this is called the application, or this is called the context root, and this we are having it in the applications. Okay, and for web applications, you need to assign the context root manually at the time of deployment, and for ER application, you no need to specify the context root. The context root will be hard coded by the developer in this file. Okay, fine. So moving on to the types of deployment. So we have two types of deployment. One is two types, irrespective. If I say types, better I can say two modes also. Okay. So one is fast mode and second one is what I can say detailed. Okay. Fast and detailed. So this we will see both fast method and detailed method. So first we will see the detailed method of installing the application. Then we will see the fast method. See, in the detailed method, you will get around 12 to 13 steps which you need to select. and most of the steps you will ignore, and you will give a option called next. When until and unless there is a special request from your development team, then only you need to do some changes. Otherwise you will leave like that only as a default values. Okay. So before moving on to that practical session, any doubts, let me know. Okay, 1 second, let me close all my existing Java process.
Gautam, can you repeat the types of modes?
There are two types, one is fast and detailed. That we will see now.
Okay.
See that the same thing I'm going to explain now. So in fast method, you will have 3 to 4 steps which you need to take action. When you go to the detailed one, you will have more detailed steps which you need to review, and you need to select next. Okay, that we will see.
And also context root. Can you please repeat that?
Okay, see, context root is nothing but the unique name which we are going to assign to that application. Okay, for each and every application, if you want to call that application, you should have some name, right? So sorry, guys. So that name you are going to assign to that application. So to access that application, you need the context root. Okay, without having the context root, you can't access that application. Why? Because if I want to call you, I need to know your name, right? If I have your name, then only I can call like a Prasanna, I can call Mahesh, I can call Sharath. If I don't know your name, how I can call you? Like the same way, if I don't know the application name, I can't call the application, right? So that's why we are assigning the name to that application. That is a unique name. So that we are calling here it as a context root. In a single word, you can say it's a unique name which we are going to assign to that application. And to access that application, we are using the context root. Okay, that we will see. Okay, we will see. Practically, you will understand more, but this is a theoretical concept. So now we are going to practical. We will see how to deploy the application. Then we will see how to access that application with the help of the context root. If you didn't give the context root, what issue you will get? If you give the context root, how you will get the application, that we will see practically. Okay, so understood. What is any doubts? I think Prasanna
No,
has
Gautam.
raised this route, right? Okay, Prasanna,
Yes, yes.
great. Okay. So now I'm going to start my DMGR first. For that, I'm going to the profile home. I'll go to the DMGR profile home. Okay, I'll go to the bin. I'll copy this. I'll open command prompt. I'm going to start the manager, that means like DMGR server, by using start manager.bat command. I'll open one more command prompt, and I'll open application server bin. I'll go to the application server bin profile, and there I'll start the node agent. I'll open one more terminal. Okay, what I did now, I have started DMGR. I have started the node agents from both federated nodes. Okay. So before that, I'll cross verify my port number. So I'm referring to the server index.xml file. As I mentioned in the interviewer, whenever the interviewer asking the questions where you can find the port numbers, don't say about this profile.txt. He will not satisfy with that answer. You have to say server index.xml file. Server index.xml file. Go inside the cell, go inside the DMGR, config, sales, cell name. You have to go to the node. You have to go to the DMGR node. Okay. So then you can see a file called server index.xml file. You open that file. This I already explained, but again I am trying to show that. Here you can see the port number. So I'm looking for which port? Admin console port, right? So you can see the WC admin host port is 9068. So I'm going to open this port to access my DMGR console. So I have opened my admin console port. Sorry, admin console server. So here, okay. So I have how many nodes? 12, 13, 14. I have 3 nodes. So let me start my another node also. So I haven't explained how to do the defederation, right? We have done the federation, right? If I don't want to, if I want to remove the federation, I haven't explained, na? I think so.
Yes,
No,
yes.
no
Not
worries.
explained.
I'll explain later on, maybe tomorrow's class. Okay. Okay. I have started all my node agents. So you can go to system administration and you can see the nodes. Click on node agents and you can see the node agent status all showing as green. So that means my node agents which belongs to the 3 federated profiles were in running state, and you can see all my server statuses were in red. So you can start if you want. Sorry, I'm going to start now. So let my application, my servers will be in running state, my JVMs. So please remember this, we are going to call in real time as JVMs, Java Virtual Missions. So prof 1 is one JVM, prof 2 is other JVM, server 1 is the JVM. Server 1 again, this belongs to the node 3 profile. We will call it as a JVM. Like the same way, the real-time environment, people will call it as a JVM. Use the same names. If you move the cursor, if it is started, it will be updated with the status. Okay, let this come up. No worry. So I'm going to deploy the application. To deploy the application, the step one, you need to log into the admin console. You need to log into the admin console. Step 2, expand applications. Expand application types. Select WebSphere Enterprise applications. Okay. So now I have 3 already installed. So I'm going to uninstall this. No worry. Okay. When I click on WebSphere Enterprise application, you can see here none. That means no applications deployed on this profile, on this DMGR. There is no profiles as of now. So there is no applications deployed as of now. So in the real time environments, they can run on this they can run 5 applications, they can run 10 applications, some people will run 20 applications, some people will run only one application. It's up to them. They can run 10 applications, they can run single application also, they can run 10 applications also. 10 applications in the sense 10 modules in that application. Maybe it is only one application called XYZ, but in that application, if they'll have 10 modules, they can develop 10 different applications and they can deploy it here, and they can establish the intercommunication by using their code between the application. That can be possible. I can't say that if you can see 60 applications has been deployed, that means 60 different applications has been hosted. So that may be a wrong statement. What they will do, developers will do, considering the complexity, the application, if the single application, they can segregate into 3 4 modules. For example, for example, so you are having it one application, for example, called anything you can remember this like Amazon application, Amazon shopping cart, Amazon application. Okay, so you are calling it as only one Amazon application, even you are accessing the application Amazon. The backend, how those guys will do, so this is only one application, right? See, entire this module, okay, they will create with the help of one application. For that, they will do the naming as an products. Okay, they will design one application called product.var or product.er, and in this application, they are going to build all the code which is related to the products. So you can see different products they are selling, right? All the products they are going to deploy, they are going to create one application. And for the second, what they'll do, when you click on orders or something, for example, when they click on Amazon Pay, you will be going to the Amazon Pay, right? So for that, they will create one more application. They will create Amazon application, Amazon Pay. Okay, and you can see the orders, right? Daily you will book some orders, right? So you will book some orders. For orders related thing, they'll build one application, and you will download the invoices. For to download the invoice, they'll build one more application. Like but if you see the in real time, will you feel that there are multiple applications that you don't know as a end user? But in the back end, what development team will do, they will split into different modules to make it easier to develop the application and to maintain that application easier. So when compared to the if they built all together in a single application, the application size will be very more. It will be around 2 GB, 3 GB. It will come to build only with the help of single application. If they split into 3 4 applications, it will be very easy. Even the space of that even the size of that application also very less. To manage that application, it will be very easy. To review the code, it will be very easy. To to assign the work to the separate, to segregate the teams between the development also. It's very easy. Some people will work on the product, some people will work on the Amazon Pay product, some people will work on the orders, some people will work on the invoice. So it will be easier to manage the teams also. Considering all these factors, what these guys will do, they will split the application into multiple sub applications that we are calling as a modules. They will split into different modules and they will deploy the application. Now for the same application, Amazon application, how many applications they have built? In this example, they have built 4 applications. That means either it's a ER or webware application. Anything is fine. It's up to them. All these 4 applications they are going to deploy. They are going to deploy in this console. Okay. To get the communication established between these two, between these two, between these two, or anything between these two, what they will do, they will manage inside the code. They will manage inside the code. How they will manage? If you click on, if you click on, for example, this here, if you click on Amazon Pay, in the backend there will be some URL. You can see in the down. If I move the cursor here, you can see https www.amazon.com/Amazon Pay. So the URL is defining that with a context suite of Amazon Pay. The developer will write the redirection URLs in the code. When you move the cursor here, the backend, it will be assigned with one URL. Even you can see that if you click on that, the request will be landing on that URL. So they will manage in that way. That you no need to you no need to think also. But your understanding purpose, I'm trying to explain. Your job is to deploy the application. That's it. You can deploy the application. Okay. Once it is deployed, you try to access with the context root. If you got the login page, you can send out a mail to the requester that you have successfully deployed the application. Name this. Okay. And you can mention we have successfully deployed the application in UAT environment or production environment or DR environment or staging environment. And you can give the name and you can mention, could you please review and confirm if all the changes were expected as expected. That's it. Your job is done. You don't need to learn what that application will do and how the integration will be done. You don't need to worry. That your developer team or your application team will handle. You are a middleware admin here. You don't need to you don't need to look how the application is behaving. Okay. So understood, right? So what I'll do now. So to deploy the application, first I'll select an option called install. We are installing it, right? We are deploying the application. That means we are installing the application. To install the application, click on install. Click on install. So once you click on install, you got 2 checkboxes here. Okay, you can select either one. So what is that? If you select the first option, one second. One second. Hello. Sorry. I got that information. I missed to share. Give me 10-15 minutes. I'll share it. Okay, Sanjay. Bye. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. See, if you select first option, which is local file system, that means now it is looking for the application where your application is available, where your physical application file is available. So you can see specify the ER, where, jar or SAR module to be uploaded and installed. So this jar or Java RKL SAR is something else. You don't need to worry about these two. You will deploy more over this only. So click on browse. If you click on browse, it is asking to select where your application is available. So I have access to this admin console in my local laptop, correct? In the real time, your WebSphere will be installed on the server, correct? That server will be located on your data center, correct? Understood, right? Your server is not your laptop in the real time environment. Your server will be located in the data center, and you will access that server, and you will install your WebSphere product, correct? So to access your console, you can access from anywhere your console, from that network, from the intranet, from your office network. You can access that admin console from anywhere. So now you are now you think you are accessing from your laptop. Okay, now you are accessing your admin console URL from your laptop, not on the server, not on the server where it is located in your data center. You may get doubt, what is a data center? A data center is a place where your servers virtual machines will be located. That means where your servers will be located, that place we are calling it as a data center. I believe this I already explained. So if you click on browse, it is asking, it is showing my laptop drives. Okay, from my laptop drive, if I have the application, I can select with this option. If I go with this option, I can select that application by browsing from my local drives. But if you select remote file system, if you click on browse, okay, you can see the node names here. That means when you keep your application on the remote server, that means if your server name is xyz.icicibank.com, or it is IP with 10.111.11, for example. Okay, so what will, okay, if you keep your application in that server, where is that server located? In your data center. If you keep that file, that application in your server, so if you want to select that, you have to use remote option. If you kept your application on your DMGR, you have to select a DMGR node. You go to the DMGR node, and here you will get the DMGR, that server directories, that server disks you will get. So even in my case, that remote server also is on my laptop, correct? So that's why it's showing C drive, D drive. But in the real time environment, if you keep that file in that server, okay, it will show you that paths. You have to select that path, you have to go to that path, and you have to select that application. But in my example, I'm going to show local file system, and in Linux, I'll show you remote file system. Don't worry. Both I'll cover. We'll keep that file in the remote file system when we are in Linux, and we'll try to deploy from Windows. Okay, no worries. Currently, I'm selecting local file system. Click on browse. Okay, and you need to select my application. You need to select the application. So see here, I have an application called default application .ear. That means enterprise application. So I'm selecting this default application, select the application, click on open. Okay, click on next. Here you can see how do you want to install the application, whether fast path or detailed path. And you can see prompt only when additional information is required. So show all installation objects and parameters. That means when you select detailed path, you will be asked to select all the detailed steps. So currently I am going with detailed path. Click on next. Click on continue. See here now it has prompted 15 steps to deploy the application. The first step is showing us select installation options. So in this one, you can read it carefully. It is asking you to specify the application name. It is asking you to specify the application name. Sorry. Okay, it is asking you to specify the application name. See, application name is something different. Context root is different. Okay, application name. After deploying your application, what name you should be displayed in the console, that you are going to specify here. Okay, so so you no need to do any changes here. So when, if you want to change the application name, you can change the application name. If there is no changes, click on next. Okay, the second one, map modules to the server. Map modules to the server will define that on which server you want to deploy this application. See here, all the servers you can see, server 1, prof 1, server 1, prof 2, and server 1. You can see the node name. The node 12 server name, or you need to deploy on node 12 prof 1, or you need to deploy on node 13 server 1, you need to deploy the application on node 13. So wherever you want to deploy this application, you need to deploy this application. If you want to deploy on only one server called prof1, you can select this option. You can check this all checkbox. Click on apply. If you click on apply, you can see here if you what are the server you have selected. I am deploying this application called default application on top of this server 1, on top of this server called prof1. Okay, I am deploying the application on this server prof1. So click on next. So I have selected which server I need to deploy. If you want to deploy multiple servers, you can select multiple and you can deploy. Apply. See, you can see wherever you have deployed all the entries, you will get it here. So, but current at this point of time, you are a beginners. I am deploying only on one server prof1. So I am clicking next. Okay. Now it is asking to specify current backend ID. See, most of the steps which is related to the application and your development team has to confirm if you want to do any changes here. Why? Because they are the developers, they have developed the code. So whatever the requirement with respect to the code, they have to confirm to us. Okay, see this option, select current backend ID. Whatever it prompted as default, you no need to select, click on next. Okay, and this provide JSP reload options for web modules. So if your developer has recommended you while giving the request, if anyone has implicitly gives a request to change this value from 10 seconds default to any other value, at the time only you need to do some changes. That means if there is any request from your development team or your application team, then only you need to change this JSP reload intervals. Okay, otherwise you no need to do any changes. Click on next. Okay, and even this also you no need to do any changes until and unless your development team has given recommendations to select some other shared libraries. You can click 99%, there won't be any changes. So that's why we have a fast path. In fast path it won't ask these many steps, it will ask 2-3 steps, that's it, which is related to your middleware products. Okay, click on next. So here the next one, map library relationship, you no need to do any changes here. Click on next. So here this also you no need to do any changes until someone from your development team asks you to change this value, then only you need to change, otherwise you no need to change it here. Click on next. Here also the same, you no need to do any changes. Click on next. Here also same, map default data sources. So if your development team ask you to select the data source, then only you can select the data source. So what is the data source, that we are going to see in tomorrow or day after tomorrow's class. So in that case only you can click here and you can select the data source, but as of now we don't have any data sources. So that is a default data source. That's why it is coming like that. Okay, when you create your own data source, it will show here. Then only you have to map. Otherwise, you no need to map. Developer will, what they will do now? Developers will write the data source in their code and they will specify the names also. While we are creating the data source, we will give the same names. That we will see tomorrow next day in tomorrow in upcoming classes. But you no need to do any changes until and unless your development team given the request to you, additional request to change these values like that. Click on next. So it is asking some continue message, the data source. Click on continue. So the same thing, click on continue. So click. Now it is asking map virtual host for web modules. Okay, this is our role. Okay, while deploying the application, it will ask you to map the virtual host. So this I'll explain you after this. Currently currently you can, if you can see this, you can in the drop down you can see two options. One is default and one is proxy. You can select default. You can select the default. What is meant by virtual host and what is the purpose, I'll explain you in a simple way you can remember. Like, under this virtual host, all ports should be defined. That means on which port you need to access your application, that port should be defined on this virtual host. Correct? Okay. So while deploying the application, you have selected default virtual host. Correct? So in this default virtual host, you need to specify your application port. No worry. So more detailedly I'll explain you. So you can select the default host and click on next. See here now, as I mentioned, map context route for the web modules. So this option, so this is an which application? EAR application. So as I mentioned, for EAR applications, you no need to specify any context route. The context route will be hard coded by the developer in the application.xml file. So you no need to mention anything. Click on next. Map security roles to the users and groups. This you don't need to select anything. Click on next. And this option you don't need to select. Click on next. The final is summary. What are the changes you have done? That it will come here. I haven't done any changes. Click on finish. So once I have done, you can see here. You can see here the activation plan has been done. Application deploy application default application dot ER installed successfully. That means your application has been installed successfully. You can see the application binaries available on this path. In this path, you can see the application binaries. Okay. Click on review, sync, save. So this is how you can deploy your application by using detailed. In tomorrow's class also, we can see the same. If you start it, click on this application. You have to select start. Then your application will come up. See now, your application is in up now. So if you click on this application, here you can see the context route for the web modules. So here is a ER application, right? Your context route will be hard coded, correct? And you can see, click one more option here called manage modules. If you click on here, you can see on which server you have deployed this application. So we have selected proof1 server, right? So you can see it here. You can go to this server types. On this proof1, you have installed this application, correct? Click on this server, expand ports, and you can see that server port. To access that application, you have to use WC default host port 9097. This is a non-secure port, right? So you have to use that port to access that application. And to access your application, what is the syntax means? You have to use HTTP colon double slash IP address you have to give, or host name where you deployed the application, and you have to give the port number. and you have to give the context root. Okay, but in our case, I am using IP address as localhost, and what is the port number of that server where where you have deployed your application is 9097. 9097. And what is the context root? The context root for default application which I have deployed is Snoop. Okay, Snoop is the context root. I'm copying it. I'm gonna paste it on that server. Click on enter. Okay, I'm getting an error called virtual host to handle Snoop has not been defined. That means this port, this port which you have using were not be defined on virtual host. So while deploying the application, we have selected a virtual host, right? So in that virtual host, we have selected default virtual host, right? We have selected an option called default virtual host. In that default virtual host, this port is not defined. So that's why I haven't explained at the time. We have to cross check that. For that, go to the option called is that environment. Under environment, there is an option called virtual host. Okay, now you can select default host. Click on host aliases. Click on host aliases. Here your port which you are trying to access should be defined. See here, my server port is 9097, correct? To access my application. So, but that port is not available here. So I need to manually enter. Click on new. Click on new. The first one is host name. So you can give star. That means anyone from any laptop, from any server, from any place you can access. If you give star, that means any star. If you give, it will be anyone can access from it can be from any request, any place you can request, from any server you can request. Okay, and what port you need to add it here? 9097. Click on apply, review, sync changes. So you come down and see, you can see 9097 port is available. So I have done the changes on host aliases, right? So on default host. So what is my virtual host? The place where you can maintain your server ports, that is called as virtual host. The place where you are going to maintain your application server, your JVM ports, which allows you to access your application is nothing but virtual host that we are going to maintain. See whatever the virtual host you have selected while deploying the application, under that virtual host you need to specify your server port where you deployed your application. So now after these changes, you have to restart your application server. You have to restart your JVM. When you stop your JVM, if any application has been deployed on that JVM, all the application will be stopped. Okay. Then when you started your application, then it will start your application along with the JVM. Okay. Now I have stopped it, right? Now I have stopped the JVM. Call prof1. You can go and see the application status. You can see red. You try to start it now. You are getting an exception called server profile on node 12 that contains default application has not been started. That means it is saying that your JVM is not started. So that's why I'm not able to start. So first you have to start your application. You start your JVM. Now I'm starting my JVM. No worry. So even tomorrow's class also I'll take this on the application deployment only. Any questions, any doubts, please hold it for today and ask for tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow also we are going to concentrate on application deployment only, and I'll cover the pending concept called federation, defederation, sorry, There is one more pending concept which I haven't explained till now called synchronization. What is synchronization? These two will cover in tomorrow's class. Now I have started it. See, my application also started. So I'll try to access the same. See now. See now I got the application. See now I got the application called Snoop application. If you come down and you can see here who served your request, which JVM has been served your request. You can see here prof1. Prof1 is a server, right? So prof1 has responded to your request and you can see the application. You can see the name of your application here. And you can see all the path where it has been installed, where it having the binaries, everything class path. You can see that. Okay, this is the application which we have deployed. So this is how you can access your application. The real time also same way. But you can't see the port numbers as of when you are accessing the real time applications. But but we are accessing the port numbers. We will see in the upcoming sessions. Okay, without port number, how you can access your application. As of now, any doubts, ask me, or you can park the doubts for today and tomorrow we'll continue with the same topic. Okay. So any confusing like today I have explained a little bit fast, right? I explained a little bit fast, right? Any confusing, let me know. I'll try to explain tomorrow also. So that means like the detailed way. We'll try to deploy other application using the detailed way, and we'll try to deploy other application by using fast way also. So you can see the difference. In the fast way, you will not get that 15 steps. You will get 3 to 4. That's it. The real time you can use any option. If there is no requirement from any of your development team, additional requirement to select some additional options, you can go with fast way only. 90 to 95% of the deployments will go with fast way only. Only rare applications, the application team will request to select some more options. That's it. Okay.
Gautam, small.
Yes.
Yeah, while deploying, go ahead, Satish. Next I will ask.
Yeah, we can access application without adding properties to the plugin file. I have small doubt for this.
No,
I thought
as of
we need
now,
to add.
no. As of now, we have installed only WebSphere application server. We haven't installed plugin. We haven't installed IHS.
Yeah, that's what my doubt. I thought we must need to install plugin and we need to configure. Then only we can access the application. That's what
No, no,
I
no,
know.
no, 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 no,
Okay.
no. Even some projects were being live without IHS, without plugin.
Okay.
Okay. See now what we are doing now. So we are directly hitting our WebSphere application server. So that means, so this is your VAS, right?
Hmm.
In this VAS, I have created three profiles as of now.
Yes.
So this is my current architecture. So okay, no problem. If it take time also, I'll try to cover the doubts
If
concepts
no
also.
issues, no issues. We will cover tomorrow also. If you
No,
have
again people will forget. No worry. See now I have three profiles, correct? All these three, all total four. So that means three application server profiles. All these three application server profiles has been federated with the DMGR, correct? So now I
yes.
have deployed the application on only one profile, on only one server called prof1. So this prof1 server we have created on this profile, correct? On this profile we have this server. While deploying the application, I have selected only this server to deploy. Correct? So what I have done as of now, I am trying to access the application by hitting this port, this server. I am hitting this port, this server, and this port. Okay, in the real-time environment, what we will do, we will install plugin, we will install web server, and we will try to access from here. If you are trying to access from here, the request will go to plugin, then the request will come to application server. But as of now, I don't have this setup. So I'm directly hitting my WebSphere application server. I'm trying with the help of the port assigned to this server. Okay, tomorrow we'll see. See, entire. So that's why I'm only concentrating on WebSphere application server. Once all the concepts has been covered, then I will move on to the plugin. Then I'll move on to the IHS. So in that
Yeah,
way,
sure.
we will get more confident that how we can access these applications or application bypassing this IHS and plugin, and we'll get how you can access the application without bypassing IHS and plugins. That both we will cover. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So great. Okay, Ramesh, you can carry on now.
While deploying the WAR files, we are assigning the context to the name, right?
Yes.
So that concept to assign name, development team they will suggest to this,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
See, whatever the context to it, we are going to assign by from our side. That context to it will be giving by your development team or your application team. So why?
Okay,
Because we
sure.
don't know what context would we
Yes,
need
yes,
to keep, right? So
yes.
what they will do now, right? In sometimes, they will hard code something in their code. See, for ER application, if they are trying to access other modules, okay, for that redirection purpose, they could have already hard coded. So if you give other one, that module will not work. So that's why they will only give you the context route which we need to provide. See,
Okay.
I'll give you more details tomorrow. So there is one more scenario. For example, if we have already deployed the application, tomorrow they have done some small changes into the application. They have given the new version. At the time they won't give. Why? Because we already deployed the application, right? You know the context route of that application. That we will see how we are going to get that, where we are going to see that we'll see in tomorrow's class.
Okay, okay.
But your development team will give, your application team will give that context route.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay. So any other questions, any other guys doubts?
No, Gautam, we'll go through the video and then we'll ask tomorrow.
Okay, fine. Thanks all. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Gautam.